Once again, welcome back to Cisco Networking World. My dear friends, I am super excited. You know why I am excited? Because now we are the ninja master in understanding the concepts of networking and also networking infrastructure. We understood the concepts of networking, but what is IT networking for this modern world? IT networking to most of the world is really the infrastructure for communications for everyone. And they think that's why networking is important. Because we know what networking does is it allows all these different types of communications, data, voice, video to come together and wide over the internet through the same media based on TCP IP style of communication. But in this modern world, what is this whole IT infrastructure? Or in other words, how important is this whole IT infrastructure for companies, organizations, business sectors, and for government agencies? Small to large scale organizations know how IT infrastructure creates business values. All these organizations are aware how imperative, essential and fundamental is this IT infrastructure. Whatsoever in this whole IT infrastructure, we have to understand what networking infrastructure is, what role network infrastructure plays in whole IT infrastructure. As a whole, IT infrastructure runs the applications that process transactions, handles the customer's data, that yield market insights, and supports the analytical tools that help executives and managers make and communicate the decisions shaping complex organizations. In fact, IT infrastructure has made possible much of the corporate growth and rising productivity of recent years. But the key factor is that all these enormous applications, softwares, databases are only being able to communicate on top of networking infrastructure. This is the key statement of this video, is that whole IT infrastructure is able to communicate on top of networking infrastructure. If there is no network, then there is no communication between applications, softwares, and communication with database is just not possible. So for an effective network infrastructure, the organizations, companies, business sectors, and even government agencies have to make a smart choice about which technology to use. When it comes to networking infrastructure, organizations consider these aspects: reliability, stability, scalability, availability, and of course return on investment. And response to these organizations aspects is Cisco networking devices and software. Cisco is the leader for many networking devices which help these organizations to build such stable network infrastructure. Now we understood the concepts of networking, and we also got an idea what is IT networking for this modern world, and have an idea what is IT infrastructure for companies, organizations, business sectors and government agencies. To build a network for organization, the smart, stable solution is Cisco networking devices. So now let's talk about Cisco. What is Cisco today? Back in the days, we described Cisco is a router company. Cisco was one product company, a router company, and then Cisco moved into switching and moved into telephony, and furthermore Cisco moved into video. Cisco is now largely a product company and software company, and Cisco is also providing security and data center solution. Cisco is #1 player for many networking products. Cisco is offering great networking products to the world. My dear friends, on internet, our best source of knowledge, Wikipedia, says that Cisco is the worldwide leader in networking for the internet. 85% of internet traffic travel across Cisco's systems. Therefore, companies and most of the organizations' best choice for networking technology are Cisco products. but to design, maintain, monitor, and troubleshoot network issues. These organizations need Cisco certified candidates with real world networking knowledge. So guys, I will try to answer this question: why Cisco certification and real world networking knowledge is essential in company's perspective, or in other words, employer's perspective. Why Cisco certification and real world networking knowledge is essential. This question will also come in minds of most of the people who plan to build their career in networking. Today, companies, organizations, business sectors, and government agencies are looking for well-qualified network engineers because the networking talent is such a huge imperative for the whole industry. Companies won't be able to actually use this networking technology without the talent to design, support, maintain, monitor, and troubleshoot the network. They need network engineers who run networks successfully. Most of the companies are looking for the people who can hit the ground running, not this type of people with confused minds. So guys, having Cisco certification in the resume is good enough to be called for an interview. And if you have real world networking knowledge to back that up, definitely you will be selected for the job. If you have that kind of knowledge to be able to go and make that happen, that's gonna have a really tremendous impact. Having Cisco certification and with backup real world networking knowledge will make you relax and comfortable at job like this guy. Congratulations guys. If you are listening to this video series, you have probably already decided to go for your Cisco certification. If you want to succeed as a technical person in networking industry, you need to know Cisco. Cisco has ridiculous high market share in networking products. If you want to be taken seriously as network engineer, Cisco certifications make sense. To be Cisco certified network engineer, you have to understand full Cisco certification track program. So guys, let's talk about Cisco certification track program. Cisco offers 5 levels of network certification: entry level, associate, professional, expert, and architect. In our first video, we have already discussed about CCNA exam track procedure. To be CCNA certified, you have two options. Either you can go for 2 attempts ICND 1 and ICND 2 to be CCNA certified, or you can go for 1 attempt CCNA X, that is accelerate. In this video, we will go through full Cisco certification track program because Cisco offers wide range of certification. Cisco training and exam track procedure are consistently being revised and updated for relevance and accuracy be real Cisco certified professionals. For latest updated Cisco certification track program, visit Cisco website. Most Cisco certification starts with CCENT. CCENT is the prerequisite for all these below shown certifications. However, there are few more Cisco certifications which does not require CCENT as prerequisite, which we shall discuss in next slide. Passing ICND 1 will give you CCENT certification. As you are CCENT certified, then you have wide open Cisco certification track. Identify your area of interest and then select a learning path to build your career in Cisco. Each of these certifications shown in next slide have tremendous value and requirement in industries and organizations. Guys, my recommendation to follow this routing and switching track program. This track program will absolutely support you to understand other paths in Cisco certifications. If not CCIE, which is the top level of Cisco certification, At least my advice to get certified up to CCNP routing and switching level. As a matter of fact, switches and routers are the building blocks for all business communication. From data to voice and video to wireless access, switches create a network. Routers connects networks. So LAN and WAN networks are created by switches and routers. So learning about routers and switches can help you to better understand network infrastructure, and of course this track will also help you to understand other Cisco certification track. These all certifications will be shown in next slide, except design track have CCIE as the highest level or top level certification, whereas only design track has architect as the highest level certification. For any CCIE or CCDE certification, there are no any formal prerequisites. Candidates must first pass a written qualification exam and then the corresponding hands-on lab exam. All these CCIE and CCDE expert level have two exams. CCIE 2 hours written qualification exam before you are eligible to schedule the 8 hours lab exam. Guys, can you believe that 8 hours for any CCIE or CCDE lab exam? For CCIE exam, you are expected to have an in-depth understanding of the topics, and Cisco strongly encourage having 3 to 5 years of job experience before attempting CCIE or CCDE certification exam. If you are CCIE or CCDE certified network engineer, then mostly you are not just an employee of an organization, but also doing consulting, providing network designs, troubleshooting huge network issues. You will be busy in visiting companies, organizations, huge business sectors to suggest network design. As a matter of fact, CCIE, Cisco Certified Internetwork Expert, and CCDE certification is accepted worldwide as the most prestigious networking certification in the industry. Network engineers holding an active CCIE or CCDE certification are recognized for their expert network engineering skills and mastery of Cisco products and solutions. Some CCIEs are absolutely busy in traveling within the country or countries to support Cisco network infrastructure to the companies, because statistics show only 3% of Cisco certified candidates are there to approach CCIE lab exam. Guys, my true passion is Cisco voice, but now Cisco has collaborated voice and video. CCNA, CCNP voice are collaborated with collaboration certification track program. Now Cisco has certification track for CCNA, CCNP and CCIE collaboration. In this slide, all this Cisco certification track does not require CCENT as prerequisite. And in this track, that is cloud track, till today, that is August 2015, cloud certification does not have CCIE exam. But in future, surely Cisco will come up with CCIE cloud. Guys, here is the recertification and renewal time frame table for your reference. However, for latest updated time frame table, visit Cisco website. Cisco certified candidates with real world networking knowledge are making lots of money by either doing jobs in organizations or working on own as consultant. So guys, on your marks, get set, go. Climb this awesome Cisco certification track program permit, and my best wishes are always with you. Now the foundation has been laid and let's go ahead and step up with advanced topics. Guys, you may be thinking that what's advanced in this slide? We have already seen this slide in first video where Tazeen, you have illustrated how data packet travel in network from source to destination through these network devices. I am impressed, guys. You are absolutely right, my dear friends. But what I explained you in my first video was very brief overview of data flow in network. With this slide of OSI model, Open Systems Interconnection, and its 7 layers, we are stepping up towards more advanced topic and digging deep to understand how data packet travel in network behind the scene. However, my advice to you guys, once again review data packet travel in network from first video, which will absolutely help you to better understand this advanced topic. For better understanding how actual data packet travel in network from source to destination in network, we have to understand these OSI model reference and its 7 layers. Before exploring OSI model and its layers, keep in mind that OSI model will also illustrate the basic process that allow data communication across the network. This OSI model will help network engineers to design and implement the network and also helps to troubleshoot the network issues. So let's start our awesome journey in understanding this beautiful OSI model and its 7 layers. So what is OSI model and why OSI model come into exist? OSI model was developed by ISO, International Organization for Standardization, or some people call ISO, International Standardization Organization. ISO developed OSI model in year 1984. But the most important question, why ISO has developed OSI model? To answer this question, we have to understand communication process across the network before the development of OSI model. Before OSI model, the data communication on network was vendor dependent. Okay, I will give you an example. It's just an example to illustrate data communication before the development of OSI model. So for example, on networks, IBM switches were able to communicate only with IBM routers. They have a vendor dependent protocol designed by IBM to communicate on network. So if an organization has to build a network, they have to have all specific vendor manufactured devices to communicate on network. However, guys, it's just an example. IBM does not manufacture routers or switches. Okay. So to break this vendor dependency and allow communication on open standard, the ISO developed OSI model. So ISO created standards for equipments manufacturing which allows vendors to focus on a specific area of the network. So after the development of OSI model, the vendors have the opportunity to manufacture devices for a specific area of the network. That is, vendors can make specific devices for a specific layer in OSI model. For example, at layer 1, that is physical layer, where all physical connections go, that is UTP or fiber Ethernet cables, network cards, WAN connection interfaces. All of these have different physical standards and manufacturer focus nothing but this layer, physical layer. So therefore, any vendors can create these Ethernet cables, network cards, WAN connection interfaces, which can connect to any vendor switches. By the way, network switches function at layer 2, data link layer in OSI model. whatsoever, vendors can create these Ethernet cables, that is UTP or STP cable or fiber Ethernet cables, network cards, WAN interface cards, which can connect and communicate to any vendor's network switch. But these different vendors have to follow the common standards to manufacture specific devices. Similarly, vendors can manufacture network switches, but vendors should adhere the standards for that specific network device, which should allow communication with other layers in OSI models. So after the development of OSI model and its 7 layers, today we have networks having Cisco switches connected with other vendor routers and are connected with some other vendor firewalls and can communicate with third-party vendor access points. And all these different vendors are still be able to communicate with each other across the network, because all the different vendor network devices adhere or follow common standards, and moreover all these network devices uses standard protocols to communicate across the network. I emphasize standard protocols to communicate across the network. Now the question comes to your mind, what is protocol? The term protocol you will be hearing and I will be saying again and again and again and again. It's essential to know what protocol is. In nutshell, protocol is language of law. In definition, a protocol is the special set of rules that allow two or more entities of a communication system to communicate between them to transmit information. These are the rules or standards that define the syntax. Communicating system use well-defined formats, protocol for exchanging messages. Protocol used for communication across network can be vendor dependent or open standard. Vendor dependent protocols, that is vendor proprietary protocols, allow communication only with proprietary or vendor dependent devices. Open standard protocol designed to allow communication with any vendor devices. Guys, we will walk through the real world networking example to understand the actual definition of protocol, because examples will illustrate the reality of the concepts, and moreover the examples show what cannot be said theoretically. That is the beauty of real world networking example. So let's see this example. In this example, a Cisco IP phone and a non-Cisco IP phone, an Avaya IP phone, both IP phones are connected with Cisco switch. By the way, Avaya IP phones are also in voice over IP and are the competitors of Cisco. Once again, let me clarify, due to the existing of OSI model, this type of network design is feasible or possible where different vendor network devices such as Cisco IP phone, Avaya IP phone or other vendor access point can communicate across the network. Back to our example, guys, keep in mind that these IP phones required electricity or power to operate. Modern switches have ability to supply required electricity power to any power over Ethernet compatible devices, which could be access point, video camera or IP phones. These UTP Ethernet cables are capable to transmit data and also supply power or electricity to any power over Ethernet compatible devices. These IP phones has to communicate with switch to get power or electricity from switch ports, and also switch communicate with attached devices to identify its identity and supply power over these Ethernet cables if the attached devices are power over Ethernet compatible devices. Cisco IP phone sends set of instruction to switch it attached requesting that I am a power over Ethernet device and I required 7 watts of power to operate. Similarly, non-Cisco IP phone, that is Avaya IP phones, also sends set of instruction to switch requesting that I am a power over Ethernet and I required 11 watts of power to operate. So by the way, some IP phones required 6 watts and some may require 7 watts power. Depending on IP phone model, the power is utilized. The point to be noted in this conversation between Cisco IP phone and switch is the set of instruction sent back and forth between phone and switch is known as protocol. That is the language, or technically the set of instructions used to communicate between network devices is known as protocol. This Cisco IP phone and Cisco switch are Cisco devices. So, and to communicate with each other, these devices uses CDP protocol, that is Cisco Discovery Protocol, to supply required power to this Cisco IP phone. CDP is Cisco proprietary protocol designed and developed by Cisco to use only by Cisco devices. CDP protocol is also used to identify the attached Cisco devices. Since both devices, IP phone and Cisco switch, are Cisco devices, the protocol used to communicate is Cisco proprietary protocol or vendor designed protocol. But Avaya IP phone, which is non-Cisco IP phone, is also connected to Cisco switch port. But Cisco switch cannot communicate with Avaya IP phone with CDP protocol to supply power to Avaya IP phone. Because guys, you know that CDP is Cisco proprietary protocol. So in order to supply power required to Avaya IP phone or any non-Cisco IP phone, an open standard protocol is required, which should be understood by both non-compatible devices. Similarly, an open standard protocol is required when a Cisco IP phone is connected with non-Cisco switch. For this type of communication, IEEE has developed an open standard protocol, that is LLDP. LLDP, Link Layer Discovery Protocol, is a vendor neutral link layer protocol used by network devices for advertising their identity, and also LLDP protocol is used for power conservation level support for any Cisco or non-Cisco devices. So CDP is used by Cisco devices only because CDP is a Cisco proprietary protocol, whereas LLDP protocol is used by Cisco or non-Cisco or any network devices because LLDP is an open standard protocol designed for all network devices. Who are IEEE and what is CDP? In details we will discuss in upcoming videos in this series. However, LLDP protocol is not in CCNA exam scope. In this video, we are just trying to understand the definition of protocol. Protocol is a set of instruction. Protocol can be vendor proprietary or open standard protocols. Or in easy words, the native language or open standard language to communicate across network is known as protocol. CDP is native language for Cisco devices and LLDP is open standard language to communicate with any vendor device across the network. Guys, I hope we have good understanding why OSI model has been developed by ISO, and we also have good idea of what is a protocol, both proprietary and open standard protocols. In this video, we will walk through this OSI model to understand conceptually, then apply to real world networking. OSI model is moreover a reference, a guideline to help us delegate responsibility and help us to understand how data communication process across the network. So let me explain you the function of OSI model and its 7 layers from application layer all the way to physical layer. The OSI model is a system that helps you break down network functions, each layer of its own responsibilities to function in network. More clearly, each layer has its own responsibility to function in network. Communication process transmits data packets in both directions. Data sent to network and data received from network. The data sent to network from layer 7 to all the way to the bottom layer in the OSI stack, and receive data from network layer 1, that is physical layer, to all the way to the top layer, that is application layer in OSI stack. These are the 7 layers in OSI model stack. Now the challenge for you guys to memorize all these 7 layers. Learn by heart all these 7 layers either from top to bottom or from bottom to top. Most people remember these phrases. Please do not throw sausage pizza away. Please, P for physical layer, do not, D for data link layer, N for network layer. So please do not throw sausage pizza away. Physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation, application, all the 7 layers from bottom to top. Or the second phrase, all people seem to need data processing. That is, move from top to bottom. However, physical layer is the layer 1 in OSI stack and application layer is the layer 7. Layers 7, 6, 5 are known as upper layers, and layers from 4, 3 to 1, that is 4 to 1, are known as lower layers in OSI model. Now let's walk through these 7 layers of OSI model layer by layer, starting from application layer. Application layer, layer 7, and its PDU is data. The OSI model defines the application layer as the user interface responsible for displaying received information to the user. That's why application layer is also known as host layer. And this is the most familiar layer because users interact with this layer. But keep in mind that we are talking about the applications which are network aware and having the ability to send data across the network, like any web browser such as Internet Explorer, Firefox, Google Chrome, Opera, Safari, etc. Or the applications like Microsoft Outlook application used to send and receive emails. FTP file transfer protocol application used to transfer a file from one host to another across the network, TFTP, or any online games which are network aware. Applications have the ability to send data from host to network through all these 7 layers of OSI model to all the way to the internet or to its final destination. But the applications like Microsoft Word, Excel, Notepad, PowerPoint, or even games which are not network aware does not leave application layer. These applications, Word, Excel, Notepad, starts function and ends its function at application layer, that is layer 7 itself. These applications will not send to other layers in the OSI model. Examples of network aware applications mostly used by network administrators are Telnet, SSH, HTTP, FTP and TFTP, etc. Now we will move to the next layer in OSI model is the presentation layer. Presentation layer, layer 6, and its PDU is also data. In the OSI model, the presentation layer ensures the information that the application layer of one system sends out is readable. I emphasize readable by the application layer of another system. As soon as application layer starts sending data, it will passes through next layer in OSI model, that is presentation layer, layer 6. For better and clear understanding, I will give you an example. Let's assume that you are surfing internet and you have opened Cisco website to know about latest Cisco products and exam track. That Cisco web page is formatted in HTML format. On the same Cisco page, you may have picture in JPEG format, and on the same Cisco page, you may have video of Cisco sales rep in MP4 format. The word I am highlighting in this example is format. This is one of the functions of presentation layer to make the data formatted for the application layer. The presentation layer is responsible for encoding and decoding, encryption and decryption, compression and decompression of data received on network, encoding and decoding, transforming data into more usable formats for different systems using a method publicly available is called encoding. For example, in ASCII, American Standard Code for Information Interchange, characters are encoded using numbers. Capital A is represented using number 65, capital B by number 66, etc. These numbers are referred to as code. Whereas decoding is the reverse process of encoding, which converts encoded information back into its original format. Now let's see encryption and decryption. Encryption is the process of translating plain text data, plain text, into something that appears to be random and meaningless, ciphertext. Decryption is the process of converting ciphertext back to plain text. To encrypt more than a small amount of data, symmetric encryption is used. Asymmetric key is used during both encryption and decryption process. Let's see an example. For example, this host wants to send an online bank transaction to this server. The data transfer between host and bank server should be encrypted to protect from hackers on internet. The transaction data will be encrypted at host computer and transferred securely through network or all over internet to reach bank server where transaction data will be decrypted in understandable format for further processing. Encryption and decryption are security terminology mostly used by cryptography professionals. Guys, if you are interested in making your career in security and are masters in great math skills, cryptography is the area you go. So guys, try to create code that cannot be cracked on internet by hackers. Compression and decompression. Compression and decompression, it's a common practice to compress data before sending on network. The receiver will decompress data back to normal format. Compressed data utilize less bandwidth on network. To save bandwidth, we compress our data before sending on network. Examples of compression and decompressions are zip formatted files, zip format files. The next layer in OSI model is session layer, layer 5, and its PDU is also data. The session layer manages a session by initiating the opening and closing of sessions between end users application process. This layer also controls single or multiple connections for each end user application and directly communicate with both presentation and the transport layer. Guys, we have to walk through an example for clear understanding this session layer. For example, an internet user can open and use multiple applications at once on his computer. User can open a web page. He can also open multiple online videos. Moreover, web pages itself can open multiple sessions in that page, such as video, audio, etc. Session layer, that is the layer 5 in OSI model, is responsible to manage, that is dialog management, and keeps all these open session connections alive, and also keeps separate all open sessions without any interruption between these open sessions. We walk through these upper three layers of OSI model: application layer, layer 7, then presentation layer, layer 6 in OSI model, and then we talked about session layer, layer 5 in OSI model. Once again, we are back to this slide, and we will be surely visiting this slide again and again till the end of this video, and hopefully also in the next video. The layer 7, 6 and 5 can be grouped together, and these three layers responsibility is to produce data to transport layer. These three layers, PDU, that is protocol data unit, is data. Its PDU is data, that is zeros and ones. Here PDU is not power distribution unit, but it's a protocol. PDU stands for protocol data unit. PDU is information delivered as a unit among OSI layers containing control information, address information, or data. PDU is significant term related to 7 layers of OSI model. Layer 7, 6 and 5, PDU is referred to as data, that is zeros and ones. The data such as email data or voice conversation data, that is voice over IP phone conversation data, or video streaming data, all these different types of data will be converted to binary, that is zeros and ones, and these zeros and ones will be transmitted to transport layer. Guys, I hope you have watched my second video. In my second video, we talked about unified communication, the modern network strategy where data, voice and video, these different types of data will transmit through same type of media based on TCP IP. Because all these different types of data will be converted to binary, that is zeros and ones. And the upper three layers of OSI model, application layer, presentation layer and session layers, PDU is responsible to convert data, that is zeros and one, and pass to the next layer of OSI model, that is transport layer, layer 4. Guys, take deep breath and relax for a moment. Then we will move to next transport layer. Transport layer, layer 4, its PDU is segments. Transport layer provides end-to-end or host-to-host communication services for applications within a layered architecture of network components and protocols. The transport layer provides services such as multiplexing and demultiplexing, identification of different applications, segmentation, flow control, connection-oriented reliability. Let me start with sessions multiplexing and demultiplexing. Session multiplexing means the user opening multiple applications. Guys, remember, applications that are network aware. The user opening multiple applications at once in his computer, and all these multiple application data stream are combined into one single that can be sent over the network. Demultiplexing, the reverse process is called a demultiplexing. Identification of different applications to deliver to the correct application is also the job of transport layer, layer 4. Breaking up data into small chunks is known as segments. The transport layer will chop up the data into small chunks, or technically known as segments, and apply appropriate PDU header to give segments. This process is known as segmentation. Transport layer services also include flow control, connection oriented, and reliability. The applications such as emails, file sharing, downloading are required these services. Voice streaming and video streaming applications do not require these transport layer services. TCP is connection-oriented and reliable protocol used for communication by transport layer, and UDP is connectionless and unreliable protocol. Transport layer has source and destination port numbers to identify services required by the applications. Guys, transport layer 4 in OSI model is important layer and its clear understanding is significant. Right now the transport layer concept is hazy. I know that, guys. Don't worry, next upcoming video is fully dedicated to transport layer, in which we will walk through examples to understand multiplexing and demultiplexing, segmentation, and the most important protocols TCP and UDP and its function, and how transport layer uses port addresses or port numbers for communication. This all we will discuss in next upcoming video. The next layer, network layer, layer 3. Its PDU is packets. The network layer is responsible for packet forwarding, including routing through intermediate routers. Routers routes packets using the best path available. IP addresses reside at network layer. This layer, network layer, is also important layer, and it required 2 or maybe 3 videos dedicated only for this network layer, where IP addresses reside at this layer. IP addresses, the huge topic. Next layer in OSI model is data link layer. Data link layer, layer 2. Its PDU is frame. Data link layer is concerned with the local delivery of frames between devices on the same LAN, local area network. Data link, as these protocol data units are called, does not cross the boundaries of local network. Data link devices frames using unique hardware addresses, that is source and destination MAC address. Guys, till now we have seen 3 different types of addresses. Port addresses are used by transport layer, IP addresses are used by network layer, and now we are discussing about the MAC address. MAC addresses are used by data link layer, layer 2 in the OSI model. Port addresses are port numbers, and IP addresses are logical addresses, and MAC address are physical address or burned in address from the manufacturers. A media access control address, MAC address, is a unique identifier assigned to network interface for communication on the physical network segment. MAC addresses are most often assigned by the manufacturers of a network interface controller, NIC card, and are stored in its hardware. Next layer in OSI model is the physical layer. Physical layer, layer 1. Its PDU is bit. The physical layer consists of basic networking hardware transmission technology of a network. The physical layer defines the electrical and physical specification of the data connections, that is zeros and ones. Physical layer, where all physical connections go, that is UTP or fiber Ethernet cables, network cards, WAN connection interfaces. Physical means the things you can hold in your hands, the things which are plug in. Guys, in this video we walk through OSI model and its 7 layers briefly. However, in upcoming next video we shall walk through real world networking example to understand data flow from source to destination through these 7 layers of OSI model. And guys, I hope the doubts in your minds of OSI model and its 7 layers in this video shall be clarified in next video with the help of real world networking examples. What we have understood in this video. At the end of this video, we know how important and essential the IT infrastructure for companies and organizations. And we also know that without networking infrastructure, communication between applications and database is a dream. Because no network, no communication. This is the key statement of this video, is that whole IT infrastructure is able to communicate on top of networking infrastructure. I have given brief overview of Cisco company, its networking products and software. For latest updated information on Cisco products, software and Cisco Certification track program, visit Cisco website. I have put an effort to explain the full Cisco Certification track program procedure because Cisco offers wide range of certifications. In this video, I also try to answer this question, why Cisco certification and real world networking knowledge is essential in company's perspective or employer's perspective. The big part of discussion in this video was OSI model and its 7 layers. However, OSI model need further discussions in next video, in which we shall walk together with real world networking example for better understanding of this topic. One of the most usable term in networking is protocol. Now we got an idea what is protocol, both proprietary or vendor dependent protocols and open standard or industry standard protocols. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. We shall meet again in our upcoming next video. Till then, be happy with your family and friends. Thank you.